Lorson Ranch is an ideal community for families in Colorado Springs. The view is beautiful, the atmosphere is serene. Neighbors are friendly and exchange phone numbers with other parents. Children walk to one another's homes. It was safe there. Residents watch drama on television, even true crime like a lot of us. But that bad stuff happened at other places, not there. Lorson Ranch is a planned community, full of military families who commute to nearby Fort Carson and to Peterson and Schriever Air Force bases. What could be safer? But something horrible did happen there. One January night in 2020. Phone calls were made, doors were knocked on. Eventually, a community Facebook post was made. Gannon Stauch, an adorable 11-year-old boy, was reported missing, that he went to play with friends and never came home. The story of what happened to Ganon is horrific. It is also incredibly frustrating and confusing. Usually, to solve a crime like this, one must search for the missing pieces of the puzzle. With Ganon's story, there are far too many pieces. So many stories, so many lies, so many puzzle pieces to sort through, wondering which are real and which ones are not. What follows are those puzzle pieces, and hope that perhaps we can better see and understand the picture that it reveals. It's full of chaos and emotion. There is jealousy, unhappiness, manipulation, brutality, and betrayal. But there is also love, a father's determination to bring his little boy home, a mother's intuition that sadly proved to be accurate. And although another figure takes center stage, please remember that this story is about Ganon, a kind, sweet little boy who was murdered in the one place he should have been the safest, in his room, in his bed. I offer a moment of silence to send love and light to him and to the ones who love him. Gannon Jacob Stauch was born September 29, 2008, in Horry County, South Carolina. His father is Eugene Albert Stauch, his mother, Landon Hyatt Bullard, and his little sister is named Lena. His parents encouraged his role as big brother, teaching him to look out for his little sister. The siblings, who fought occasionally like most siblings, adored one another. According to their mother, they were rarely apart. She described Lena as, quote, being a little puppy dog, following behind her Bubba, as she called him. Ganon was born prematurely, weighing only 1 pound 6 ounces at birth. His parents were told that he only had a 10% chance of survival, and if he did, he would probably be severely impaired. But Ganon beat the odds. His mother proudly told the story in interviews after his disappearance, calling him a fighter and her inspiration. Like some preemies, Ganon had stomach issues, which, combined with the medication Vyvanse that he took for ADHD, caused severe constipation and occasional accidents. His stepmother, unfortunately, would bring this embarrassing detail up many times after he went missing. Ganon, like many modern kids, loved video games. He told his father he wanted to become a gamer one day. His Nintendo Switch gaming console was said to be his prized possession. He especially enjoyed Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario, and Zelda. He even dreamed of having a YouTube channel. As of today, his one and only YouTube video has 40,000 views and over 5,000 likes.
Hey guys, and today I'm about to play some Sonic Mania.
Alright, let's zoom in. And
Father Albert works in the National Guard, listed in full-time status. According to him, his long work hours and time away from home contributed to his and Landon's nearly 10-year marriage coming to an end. It was during this difficult time, separated with the intent of divorce, when he began a romantic relationship with Letecia Hardin. Albert met Leticia playing softball. Al, Leticia, and even Landon played on a team together. Al began dating Tisha in January of 2014. They were married 1 year later, January 2015. Tisha came to the marriage with a child of her own, a daughter named Harley. Al describes the beginning of the relationship as a lot of fun. Landon had majority custody of the kids, so Al and Tisha were more free to do what they wanted to. Tisha loved to travel, so the couple went on several cruises. It wasn't long, however, before cracks began to form in the relationship. Just like with his first marriage, Albert's work schedule and travel was a source of contention. Work took Albert to Oklahoma for a time. It was there he learned of a position in Alaska. He eagerly applied and was accepted. On the eve of his relocation in 2017, Tisha threw all of his belongings into the yard in a gesture that told him to, quote, take your shit and go. After a week of silence, the couple made up. It was during his time in Alaska that Albert filed for custody of the children. Similar to many custody battles, it was contentious. Landon had remarried as well to a man named Mike Hyatt. Together, they had a daughter named Nova. Mike had a criminal past, and many accusations were made in the court proceedings. And also, just as with her first two pregnancies, Landon had complications. In an interview with police, she spoke of a 7-month-long hospitalization of Nova. Her new marriage didn't last, so Landon was in transition, rebuilding her life. For these reasons, primary custody was granted to Al. For the first time in he and Tisha's relationship, his children were in their home full time. The timing was bad for Albert. As told in an interview with detectives, the separation and time apart from Tisha while he lived in Alaska and she maintained the home in South Carolina gave him perspective, and his eyes were opened to her manipulative tactics and nature. Leticia was born August 4th, 1983, in Robeson County, North Carolina, and later moved to Myrtle Beach. Her family is part of the Native American Lumbee tribe, where they are from, in Lumberton, North Carolina. The Lumbee people are known for their entrepreneurial spirit and their focus on education. Leticia graduated from Coastal Carolina University with a bachelor's degree in education. She claims, often, to have a PhD. The validity of this claim is questionable. Her correspondences and interviews showcase phonetics, grammar, and spelling far below the level one would expect after a doctorate education. The degree from Liberty University, some call a purchase degree, like most things in life, are only worth the effort put into them. Whereas a dedicated person could learn from that platform, Tisha proves in many examples that she manipulates, takes shortcuts, and believes herself to be intellectually superior, so it is doubtful she took an online course seriously. She also never defended her dissertation. In typical Letecia style, she has an excuse why that shouldn't matter. Her own expert witness, testifying on her behalf, questioned her degree.
But we do know that she got a softball scholarship, that she got her doctorate's degree, that she...
Would you explain the doctorate's degree, where she got it and how?
Did you not know that she got a doctorate's degree, Doctor?
I don't know if you counted the same. It was over the internet, and it was like Coursera or something like that. I think that you need to look at that a bit.
You know more about it than I do. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Well, it was.
That.
I don't know, some of those big boxes.
Watch the videos. It's not on the videos.
It's not there? I don't know, but that's where she got it. That's where she says she got it.
But anyway, that didn't impact her ability to go through college.
It did. Her college was also, I believe her degree was a computer, an internet.
She also claims to have an IQ of 180, which would make her one of the smartest people in history. By comparison, Einstein and Stephen Hawking tested at 160, Elon Musk at 155. To quote Hawking, people who boast about their IQ are losers. When Tisha was 20 in 2003, she had a daughter she named Harley Nevaeh Apache Hunt, with her husband at the time, Chance Hunt. When Harley was 6, Chance left the picture and tragically passed away in 2014, 3 months before Tisha married Al. Harley said this at trial about her father's death.
What about your relationship with Albert? How'd that go?
We had a good relationship. When Albert first came in, it's when my dad passed away. So, that was difficult for me at first because I didn't want my father to feel replaced. That's how I felt in my heart. But as time grew, we got closer.
What was your father's name?
Chance.
Hunt?
Yes.
Do you remember when he died?
Yes, when I was 12 in October.
So would that have been October 2000? Help me out with the math here.
12 or 14.
Sometime in that time frame?
Yeah.
When your father passed away, were Albert and your mom married?
Yes.
Do you know how your dad passed away?
Yes.
How did he die?
An overdose.
And when did you first learn that?
This past week.
What were you told how he died before?
That someone came in and robbed him and killed him.
And who told you that?
My mom.
Had she ever told you the truth as to how your dad died?
No.
How'd you learn about that then?
The internet.
Albert offered many times to adopt Harley, but Tisha refused. She retained full sole authority and power over Harley. And though they created a blended family, the parenting was kept separate. Tisha could not make decisions about Ganon and Lena's parenting, and Al was not allowed to make decisions about Harley. Long before she met Albert, Tisha had some run-ins with the law. In one instance, she was involved in a violent fistfight. It rose to the felony level because the other party was treated at the hospital. There was a trial for communicating threats, which she was sentenced to 45 days in jail for. There was also a charge for unauthorized use of a vehicle that apparently stemmed from a mishap with a driver's ed car. As an adult, she put her criminal activity behind her and maintained a clean record afterwards. Her employment history, however, was problematic. According to Albert, she had 8 jobs in 2 years. One teaching job she simply quit. The next job she walked away from after accusing the school superintendent of using racial slurs to her regarding her Native American heritage. These claims were investigated and found to be 100% false. She left another job claiming she suffered a head injury at work, an injury that Al said he saw no evidence of. Her South Carolina teaching license was revoked when she failed to uphold her contract. These were some of the initial red flags Albert saw of Tecia's manipulation. Leticia hated being in Alaska. She told Albert, quote, "They should just give it back to Russia because life is so horrible there." While Albert, Ganon, and Lena lived in Alaska, Tecia and Harley would only visit. Tecia maintained the South Carolina home, using it for income as her own personal Airbnb. Insecure in their relationship, Tecia created, according to Albert's testimony, a conflict that would force him to relocate. She took advantage of brief moments alone and made sexual harassment claims against a higher-ranking individual in Albert's unit. She knew her husband would support her. Regardless of the investigation's outcome, his work atmosphere was now uncomfortable. He was able to transfer to another part of the unit located in Colorado Springs. Leticia and the kids moved in January to set up house. Albert joined them in February at their new home at 6627 Mandan Drive. Leticia's plan had gotten him out of Alaska. During the Alaska fallout, Leticia had claimed to be pregnant with twins, even showing Albert an ultrasound, but no twins ever came. She claimed during an FBI interview to have had several midterm miscarriages. In the days following Gannon's disappearance, she once again claimed to be 5 weeks pregnant. Hours after her eventual arrest, she claimed to have a miscarriage, even though the hospital said otherwise. In addition to fake pregnancies, Tecia also made false police reports about faked intruders and burglaries. First time she lied about an intruder, it was proven untrue because there were no footprints to or from the window she had staged open. Learning from her mistake, she made sure there were footprints the second time. Her mistake for the second intruder story involved the home security system. The sensors showed motion originating in the living room, going down to the basement where she claimed the intruder came in, and back upstairs to the living room. Confronted with the evidence, she later admitted to Albert that she made up the second story, although she never fully admitted to the first one. She once again learned from her mistake, never forgetting to include a reason for the motion sensors to be covered during the critical hours surrounding Gannon's disappearance. These experiences with Tecia are why Al told detectives he was, quote, borderline wanting to get out of this for a long time because of shit like this, being lied to nonstop. Leticia was described by Landon to want the best of everything and always has to look the part. She dreamed of living like Kim Kardashian. Al described her as always wanting to live beyond their means. Her love of and the importance of her possessions was obvious in the time after Gannon disappeared. She complained about not having the items police confiscated, while everyone else wanted to have Gannon returned. Tecia wanted her phone, her purse, her jewelry, and her car returned. Albert was catching on to Tecia's ways, and since Alaska did not allow himself to be pulled into them, he learned one of her main tactics. She would emphasize that they were a team, that he was her teammate. And then, when she presented a conflict and he didn't jump to her defense, she would complain that he wasn't supporting her. It was always Tisha versus the entire world. She attempts this tactic with him several times during the investigation.
Listen, you're not getting anything from me, okay?
Yes.
Until you are on my team.
Okay. I'm trying to be, but you're not working with me. It's not like, this is not like every single other situation in our marriage, okay, where it's like, I give in 100% and then you give me a little bit here and there. Just like with the money. Remember, I had to tell you how much I loved you and put your picture on Facebook for you to tell me about the money that you took. Not Facebook, but Instagram. Remember that?
What money that took?
That $8,000 or $9,000 that you took. But it's the same thing you're trying to do here.
You put my picture on Facebook?
No, Instagram. I said Facebook, but Instagram. You're the only one.
When was this?
When you took the money, it was like, oh, you don't love me, you're hiding me. But the point is here, you're trying to get me to go all into you without anything from you. That's just not how this works, okay? It's just not how it works.
Albert stated his own parents' divorce caused hurt for him, and he recognized the same difficulty for his children. He had fought for and eventually gained custody of his children. Perhaps this is why he had not yet ended the relationship with Tisha, despite the problems. How sad to think that his efforts to keep his children feeling steady and secure are ultimately what put them in danger. Tisha was also unhappy in the relationship. According to Landon, Tisha confided to her that when she reaches a certain time frame, she's out, going to take him for all he has. That her job, her lifestyle, as in freedom, being tied down to one place, has been compromised. That she is no longer at the beach and can come and go as she feels like it. She thinks his kids and his lifestyle has put a damper on her life, but she has to have money on it. And Tisha's Google searches in the days before the crime back up Landon's claims. Evidence of her unhappiness was Leticia's employment activity in the weeks leading up to the murder. Previously mentioned, Albert said that at one point Tisha had like 8 jobs in 2 years. This pattern was consistent in Colorado. Tisha had recently left her 5th grade teaching job at French Elementary. 2 weeks before the murder, Friday, January 10th, she interviewed for a position at Mountain Ridge Middle School with a woman named Leslie Hicks. January 17th, Mrs. Hicks touched base with Leticia. At this point, Mrs. Hicks was checking Leticia's references and having some trouble reaching them at the phone numbers that Tisha provided. So she asked for additional references and/or contact information. One reference was named Connie Huddle. Mrs. Hicks testified that when she called the number, her phone's caller ID showed up Eugene Stauch, and a female answered, and children could be heard in the background. She asked if this was Connie, and the female said no. Later, it was revealed that the phone number given for Connie Huddle had been Gannon's number. Tuesday, January 21st, Leticia received messages confirming that she was hired and to begin shadowing as substitute and meeting the students the following day, Wednesday, January 22nd. Friday, January 24th, was Leticia's final day at Mountain Ridge. Although Leticia had initiated and followed through the procedure of getting this new job, her Google searches indicate she was seeking other employment in different states. January 24th, she Googled jobs, employment in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina at Indeed.com. The following day, she searched jobs, employment in Los Angeles, California, and later Craigslist, Orlando jobs, with the keywords Disney, manager, cruise port, and airport. Up to this point, Ticia's career had been in education. She was now telling people that she was making a change to become a flight attendant. The following are taken from her first police interview 2 days after Gannon was reported missing, and an FBI interview the day of her arrest.
And where are you working?
Well, I was working with WD3, but I didn't want to work as a teacher anymore. So I decided I was going to be a flight attendant. So that's currently what I started doing with Spirit. So I had been going back and forth doing like FAA. First you have to get like a study guide. I know you probably are like, oh, you have your doctorate degree, you want to be a flight attendant. You know, I just like to travel. But my goal is to like teach online too and do the flight attendant, so I could do both.
Sure.
So I've been looking over my books with Spirit and like things like that so that I could go to training. So I was supposed to go to training. We get like a training date February, March, April. So in the meantime, I was just doing like subbing at the early college. That's why I told you early college, picking up sub shifts and stuff like that.
Okay, so you're more of a substitute.
Well, I was just the 5th grade teacher at French, but teaching has gotten so difficult in the elementary schools. I don't want to do it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like in between. I just finished working with them and like that.
Yeah, I'm sure kids nowadays are a handful, right?
It's hard because I did special ed for so long because that's what my doctorate's in, and then you're like, oh, like
you
try to help so many people, and it's just hard. Yeah.
All right. So you're gonna do flight attendant with Spirit?
Well,
have you been picked up by them yet?
Well, I got an offer letter from Spirit, an offer letter from, I just got one yesterday from SkyWest.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I like SkyWest is because they have a domicile in Colorado Springs and in Denver, so you can actually like work there, and I could do both at the college. Because I was gonna, I thought someone's vibrating. I was gonna do like Pikes Peak, and like I'm sure I wouldn't have a problem because I just finished this past year. So I was going to just do them both, and then so I hadn't decided, but now that SkyWest just had offered it, I was like, that would be perfect because it was just like centrally located, you know,
right.
where you could come home all the time.
Yeah.
So that was a big problem that we had, is because I was going to take the Spirit job, and then I wouldn't be based anywhere. They don't have a base anywhere in our area, so like I would have had to be in Las Vegas.
Oh wow.
So I would never get to see anybody at home, and then you like stay in these crash pads. Are you familiar with it?
We were on vacation with some people who, the wife used to be a nurse, and she actually transitioned into being a flight attendant.
Right.
She was telling us all about it, actually.
Right, yeah. So
it's kind of scary.
I did start getting scared about it being in Vegas, and I was like, man, I'll never get to see everybody at home, and like, and I mean, I love the travel part, so then I was stuck with traveling but being alone, or traveling with everybody else, but maybe not as much here. So, but anyway, that was, in a nutshell, I was kind of in a self-evaluating. Is it okay if I just stop that? Because it's like vibrating.
Yeah, that's fine.
It drives me crazy. But yeah, so I was in like a self-evaluation type thing, trying to figure out, you know, transitioning from education and never having like another career was like, and then like worrying about how people would look at you like, oh, you have your doctorate degree and you're a flight attendant, you know, you guys like don't make money.
Right.
You know, so.
My niece is actually a flight attendant, so for Southwest.
They said that's the best one, and whenever they have openings, it shuts the website down.
Oh.
That's what I heard.
That's pretty awesome. I didn't know about that. And apparently it's really hard to get into, because they're supposed to like handle emergencies in the air, so.
Yeah, and like the training is so, people just think we will serve people, but the training is so. I heard it's very intense. Yeah, they like do ditching exercises. They kick people out every day. If you're late for class for 1 minute, kick you out.
Oh wow. And that's good. We need standards like that whenever we're
so like
flying.
what happened? Let me just tell you this in case it comes up like somewhere. But Spirit flew me out to do the December 20-something training, right? Problem is, I didn't have anybody to watch Harley, and Albert was working night shifts. And so it's always hard because it's always on me to find babysitters for everybody, all the kids. It's always on me. So I get out there, and he was supposed to help. I know she's 17. We let her stay by herself, whatever. But through the night, because he was working 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., that kind of scares me. And so like she just joined the Air Force, so like I know she's gonna have to learn how to like shoot a gun, protection, but you know, like she's not ready yet. Mature, like she's very mature, but she's not ready. So I came back, you know, and I was like talking to them. I just told them, I was like, my daughter's at home, whatever, and they're like, we can move you to the next class like I think it was February, whatever. So anyway, so just in case you're like, oh, I thought you were, but I did fly out. They flew you out or whatever, and I came back because I was panicking about her, the dogs, everybody, didn't take care of. So Albert asked me where my car was at, and I told him it was at French. The reason I told him that is because Albert and I get in a lot of fusses about this whole working and changing career thing that you guys, I told you about in the beginning, and that was like a personal situation that I didn't want to fuss with him about, you know, like the working and changing, you're going to give up your career for this, and this. So I just said, he knew I had just worked at French, so he knew that. So I said, it was at French, one of my friends brought me. That's what I told him.
Okay. So
that's why he thought it was at French, but it was my way of, so he thought that he knew I had to go get my stuff from French because I stopped working there. And that's kind of, I wanted it to go with the story because I wasn't ready yet to tell him I wasn't returning at all to education. It just wasn't.
Okay, so he doesn't know that yet.
Well, he knows that, like, I'm going to be a flight attendant, and then, oh, never mind, I can't do it because I've been back and forth. You're going to go from making I make like 60 grand to, I think they make like $18 to $20 an hour, but you could only do so many things, like reserve shifts, you got my crash pads. So I'm back and forth on something I really want to do and the money. So I went back and forth with him on that, and that was just one of those things where I just wasn't prepared to be like, oh, you're gonna be a teacher again. Oh, you're gonna do this again. Oh, you're back at the school again. Blah blah blah. You know. So you're back at subbing again. So
you took your
sick though too for your work.
So what I did was I said, I told Albert, I said, hey, I'll just stay at home with Ganon today. And he didn't write me back or he didn't whatever. But the plan was I wasn't going to go back to teaching. Like that was, like the plan was I did not go back to teaching.
So starting, when was that a plan?
I think it was like December, so I was just going to try to use like days and try to, you know, whatever, because I just didn't want to go back to teaching.
Right. What did you tell your school as far as why you didn't show up that day?
For that day, I didn't talk to them about anything that day.
Your school, you didn't?
Not that day.
Did you just not show? Or did you have classes waiting on you? Or
No. Okay, so what happened was I transitioned because I was like, okay, I wasn't going to be a teacher anymore. And I was like, okay, well, I have to do something until this whole flight attendant thing started. So I had to do something until then. I couldn't just not have money or whatever. So I got on what is it? I don't know what district it's called, but it's one of the districts. And I said I would do a long-term sub position or I would do the regular subbing position. And then I just, at that point, it was going to just call in whenever I could work. I think it's D8. I have it in my email. Right. I could just call in whenever I worked or whatever. And just.
So were you scheduled to show up then Monday morning?
From the school that I wasn't going to work at anymore, I had already told them that I wasn't. Like, I didn't even complete paperwork with them yet. So it wasn't even, I wasn't
They weren't counting on you to show up that day or work there?
What do you mean? But I hadn't signed any contracts. I hadn't, done anything with them because the whole plan was I was not going to be teaching. I was just going to be,
okay. Yeah, I get you didn't sign contracts, but were they planning for you to come in to do something on Monday and you had to call in?
I never called in on Monday. I'd already told them.
Did you text down or something?
No, on Thursday or Friday I'd already told them. Okay. On Thursday or Friday I'd already told them that I wasn't coming in. I didn't go in Friday either. I'd already told them I wasn't. So it was like, you're asking me about if I told them Monday, but I'd already told them prior.
You'd already told them, so you didn't have to tell them you're not coming in on Monday?
Right, because I'd already told them because, see, on my dad's side, there was someone who passed away, and I just used that as a reason why I wasn't coming on the prior week.
Oh, okay.
So that's, and then...
How did they pass away?
Well, my dad is remarried to my stepmom. Or my dad is married to my stepmom. And then on the first side, he had cancer, so... Honestly, I didn't have any plans to go there at all. I didn't.
Yeah.
But it bought me some time into not teaching and then trying to get set up on the next schedule. Because I had started developing, a lot of stress over teaching because it wasn't so much about teaching anymore. It was about following a piece of paper that wasn't helping the students. And so that was already a plan that was set separately and trying to figure that out.
So did you say the stepmom excuse then? Did you mention stepmom for the week prior then, as far as why you might not be there?
No, I didn't mention anyone. I just said I had a different in the family. I didn't say anything to do with our family or stepmom or anything. I just said we had a different.
Were they okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean.
What are you going to say, right?
I mean.
Death in the family, you can't.
Yeah, and plus too, I hadn't even done anything like with them. It was just, why would I even want to set myself up in a position to be teaching with them again? I just couldn't do it. I thought I could because I was like, if I do it, I would just, do it until, I could be on a sub position or whatever, and I hated it.
Yeah. I had to sub for a little while before the FBI.
Well, see, I didn't have a problem moving into the sub list.
Yeah,
like,
but subbing's not fun.
Right, and of course you don't get paid what you should, but I didn't have a problem moving into the sub list. I didn't want to teach sped. I was in a hard position with not wanting to be a teacher at all. All I wanted to do was work with people and being able to see new people every day, and so I had to buy myself some time. And it just was fortunate that someone had passed away, and so that bought myself time in order to. So if you say you wanted the truth, that's the truth. I bought myself time. I bought myself time to just be able to take I think it was Thursday, Friday, maybe Friday. I don't know. It was 1 or 2 days to take that time through the weekend to kind of self-reflect and be like, how can I, get to the position where I want to. You know how hard it is to look at someone and say you spent your whole life working in education and then you don't really want to do it.
Yeah, my wife's in education, my mom's in education, but yeah, I mean, some people are cut out for it and others are like.
Right, and I did it so long, and it was like, it was more so about following everything by the book and not being able to actually get to have fun with kids anymore and get to teach them the way you want to teach them.
Right.
It was to buy myself some time, and the plan was just to keep working at the airport and then I go from there.
Okay. So tell me about the next morning.
While analyzing the case, searching for signs of premeditation and motive, Leticia's employment activity and status must be included if only for the timing. Although she had been caught lying about references, she was still hired at Mountain Ridge, but she was clearly not content with her new job. It seems a stretch to claim her unhappiness with a job would be the cause of a murder, but because there is never a reason whatsoever to commit such horror, I suppose to Leticia it's as good of an explanation as any. It seems more likely that this was the perfect storm, events unfolding that only a person like Leticia could fully understand. If her career played no part in motive thus far, a text message she sends to Leslie Hicks later would undeniably signal when premeditation began. Her Google searches, however, hinted at motive days before. When a search is deleted from Google, the data can still be retrieved, but the metadata, including the date, are lost. The following are Google searches from Leticia's phone, but are not known from exactly when. Find me a new husband book. I feel like I'm just a nanny, not a stepmom. Husband uses me to babysit his kids. Are there any free money to move away from bad situation? My husband never posts about me, but does everything else. I'm just a glorified babysitter. Find a new husband. Sent my husband sexual messages, and he ignores them. Make my husband want me more. I feel like my husband uses me to babysit his kids. Find a guy without kids. Unlike the prior Google searches, the following were not deleted, so it is known exactly when they were conducted. Saturday, January 25th, Leticia Googled the following throughout the entire day: beginning at 8:48 a.m. until 9:49 that evening. Jobs, employment, Los Angeles, California. Find real military singles. Military dating and singles at militarycupid.com. Parenting should be 4 people, not 1. I'm over doing all the work for my stepkids, and their mom doesn't help. If you aren't involved in your kid's life, you are shitty. My husband's ex-wife does nothing for her lids. I assume she meant kids. I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a Valentine's card since I raise her kids. One day, some people will wish they treated you differently. Find me a rich guy who wants me to take care of his kids. Find a guy who wants me to take care of his kids and get paid. Apartments for rent in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartments for rent in Fort Lauderdale. Craigslist, South Florida jobs, apartments, for sale, services, community and events. South Florida jobs. South Florida rooms and shares. South Florida jobs, teacher. Orlando jobs, Disney, manager, cruise port and airport. A text to a friend the day after Ganon went missing read, "I should have left last week when I said it. If only she had. If only instead of simply Googling and making plans, Tisha had left to start a new life, Ganon would still be alive. Instead, some conflict or activity the weekend of January 25th triggered a chain of events that led to his murder." Now that some background and history have been covered, what follows are the details of the murder and the days prior and after. In Part 2, Leticia's actions and phone activity provide a glimpse into her twisted mind and also paint a picture of Ganon's final days. Thank you for watching. I hope you continue the journey in the next video.